All right, so Holger, Rune, Felix, Auger-Aliassime, and Lorenzo Musetti win. Huge week for the next gen on the ATP Tour. Rune beat Tsitsipas in Stockholm, which I was at the tournament all week. FAA beats Korda in Antwerp, and Musetti beats Berrettini in a crazy week in Naples, which we'll get into. We're going to break this all down, give the slice on what it means for the winners and for the losers. So here's the slice presented by BetStamp. Welcome to the slice, people. Thanks for being here, friends of the show. If you're new here, smash the subscribe button. We're almost at 15,000, so thanks for helping us get over the line. And subscribe to the Monday Bagel, the newsletter which wraps up all the news from last week. There's a lot to wrap up on Monday mornings. The free newsletter down below, it supports the show. Thank you guys for just clicking all the links and getting around it. So much happened last week. I was, like I said, on the ground in Stockholm. Interesting times. Weird media relationship at that tournament, but I was able to speak to Holger Rune and Tsitsipas, who were in the final. So that was cool. Before we get to that, the slice is presented by BetStamp. BetStamp is the app, if you're a tennis bettor, that you need to download so you can get the most out of your experience. BetStamp allows you to line shop for the most valuable sports odds on each wager and therefore maximize your potential profit as a bettor. By having multiple sportsbook accounts, you are able to access the best prices, and BetStamp streamlines this process for users. Hit the link below to download the BetStamp app and join me on their platform, and shout out to them for supporting the show. Now, what a great week for tennis on the ATP Tour around the European continent. On the WTA, they're still trying to finish their tournament in Guadalajara. Obviously, we're ahead of the time here in Europe, but I was lucky enough to be in Stockholm this week. Man, what a cool city. First of all, Sweden, cool city, and the Royal Tennis Club of Stockholm, the Kunglighalla, I think is what they call it, in Sweden was just the coolest venue ever. Can't talk about it enough. It was like this old hall, felt like it was in like a Viking war hall, and they played tennis there. And there's been the walls like in there with like all the photos of past champions, and you could just tell that place was steeped in tennis history. So shout out to the Europass family for supporting us and getting a little behind the scenes action. Hit the link below if you want to see more from me at these tournaments. Like right now, I'm actually back in Basel. We'll be talking about that. But anyways, I was able to talk with Holger and Stefanos, like I said, on the way to the final. So Holger beat Stefanos. We'll get to that in a second. But here's what Holger Rune had to say about his drop shots and his relationship with Alcaraz, and the fact that both of them are teenagers still. Both of them are in the top 25. One's number one in the world. And they both have insanely good drop shots. I asked him about them.
You both have amazing drop shots. Have you guys ever joked about that? Like maybe the two best drop shots.
Yeah, not really. We haven't talked about it, but yeah, I mean, I played him tons of time in juniors, and we always did drop shots against each other. So I think it's it's something that we've always done, and yeah, I mean now he learned obviously to put them in the right way because he has big shots and as he can mix it up, because that's also what I was trying to do today, because every time I was lining up for a forehand, he's automatically going a bit on the heels, and if you can mix it up and drop it short sometimes, it makes him keep guessing all the time. So it's definitely a nice thing to do once in a while.
So that was cool to see him. That was right after his quarterfinals win, I think, where he beat Alex de Minaur, and then Holger Rune goes on to beat he beat Cam Norrie, and then he goes on to beat Alex de Minaur in the semifinals, another amazing win, and then he goes on to beat Stefanos Tsitsipas in the final, which is just crazy good. So I was able to talk to Tsitsipas also after his quarterfinal win, and I asked him about the racket handle mics. Here's what he said.
It's one of my favorites, honestly. It's a very good invention. Good job. Very nice. Sweet.
Looking at Tsitsipas' 2022 year, he's had a great year. He's had one of his most consistent. He's ranked number 5. He's won so many matches. He's won 2 titles. But I asked him kind of about, how he would wrap up this year, and he didn't give me a straight answer. He said, well, the year's not over, etc. But I was kind of getting at the fact that, he's had a good, consistent year, but Carlos Alcaraz won a title before he did, and he had some really tough losses to Nick Kyrgios and to Alcaraz, and he's 2 for 7 in finals this year now. Well, obviously that was before his 7th final that he just lost in Stockholm, but kind of an interesting, tougher year from Stefanos. And I don't know, it's my first time really talking to him much in person as far as like an interview. I chatted with him nicely and back in the summer, but seems like he's, it's definitely a different type of stress. Like he's not a guy on the come up anymore. He's a guy who's been here for a while and just isn't able to get over the line of winning a major right now. And he's losing some weird finals. Like he's now lost to Holger Rune. He lost to Borna Coric. He obviously lost to Djokovic, which is, not a huge surprise in Astana. But he's had some tough losses, battle scars this year. But I do think it'll help him be better in the future. But this one, I think, again, stings here for him in Stockholm. But yeah, Holger Rune. Like I've been covering this kid since he was ranked like 800 in the world on our channel. We all know that. And it's been amazing to see him just climb. He's he's strong, so athletic. His defense, I think, is really good, because I was talking about it today during the match. His backhand is so good, especially if you pull him out wide, that players don't know where to attack. Like you feel like if you're going to go into his forehand or backhand, you're going to get hurt unless you play a really good shot. Even if you do, you still might get hurt. It's kind of like a Djokovic-esque effect on opponents, I see. And it seems like Holger just played great today, but he made Steph overplay because of the way that he made Steph overplay because of the way Holger was able to counterattack and defend and then just attack in general. So I think Holger's bigger than he looks like on TV. He's stocky and he's tall. He's like 6'1", 6'2", probably. So he's a beast. And he just won his second title of the year, this time over Stefanos Tsitsipas in Stockholm. So what are you guys' thoughts on that? That's pretty amazing. And then our guy Felix Auger-Aliassime, Canadian, wins Antwerp back-to-back, second title in 2 weeks. Where's the haters now? I don't hear you now. That's funny. I don't hear you now talking about his former record in ATP Finals. So he just wins them now. Like clockwork, third title of 2022, and he's now in a great position to qualify for the ATP Finals. He's number 7 in the race right now. So yeah, he's just totally starting this kind of final push in the European indoor hard courts to make the finals, and he's going to obviously want to play here in Basel, where he's coming next, where I'm at, and then in Paris, where hopefully we'll be at as well. So great win for Felix, crushing it, doing what we love to see him do, and finally getting over the line with consistency now, which is awesome. Beat Sebi Korda. We should say shout out to Sebi Korda for making a second final also in a row, being a little injured in the final here, but great win for Felix. And then finally, we got Musetti, an all-Italian matchup in Italy, in Naples. We had Musetti taking out Berrettini. I didn't get to watch this match. Could only watch the other two, so that's a great win for Musetti. Musetti also had the win, if I'm not mistaken, in Hamburg this year, so that's a great title for him. So he's been crushing it as well. But that tournament in Naples was not crushing it. If you saw anything on Twitter, there was such a chaotic scene about the courts. They had to redo the courts midway through the tournament. They were unfit to play, but they tried to start the tournament with like creases through the middle of it. Just absolutely chaotic scenes. There was like a delay in the final, I heard. Just this camera was just pointed at the ocean, like while the players were playing. Super unorganized, it looked like, in Naples, and just clown town, to be honest. So I wrote a lot about that in the Monday Bagel last week, which if you haven't already, subscribe to the Monday Bagel down below. I give you a little dose, finely brewed tennis news every Monday. That's the idea. But anyways, Musetti in Naples, Felix in Antwerp, and Holger in Stockholm. And now I am on the ground. I'll be again at the tournament. It's pretty close to my house here in Basel, and I'll be doing a full draw breakdown of Basel and Vienna. Big tournaments, amazing matches coming up here on the channel. But if you want more of the clips of Holger and Stefanos, follow our Instagram up down below, on Twitter, on TikTok, and all things. And thanks for being here. That's The Slice. Let me know what you think about all that action down below.